Most criminal cases in Tennessee begin in general sessions court. I'd say 90% of those cases begin in general sessions court, misdemeanors and felonies. Um, Most misdemeanors can be and are resolved in general sessions court, but they don't have to be. General sessions court is a court of limited jurisdiction. So there's really only, let's talk about misdemeanors first. There's only three things you can do with a misdemeanor case in general sessions court. It can be dismissed or some flavor of dismissal. You can reach a plea agreement with the state to either the charge you were charged with or a lesser charge. Or if you don't like the offer you've been given and the state won't dismiss it, the last stage of a general sessions case is what's called a preliminary hearing. And the purpose of that preliminary hearing is not for the general sessions judge to determine guilt beyond a reasonable doubt like at a jury trial. It's simply for the court to determine if there's enough probable cause to bind the case over to the grand jury. So the vast majority of cases that end in a preliminary hearing in general sessions are bound over to the grand jury. Once a case is bound over to the grand jury, or in the event it was a direct presentment to the grand jury and it bypassed general sessions altogether, the grand jury has become little more than a rubber stamp process that is then going to bind that charge over to the criminal court, the trial court level. In some counties, that trial court is called the circuit court because that judge hears both civil and criminal matters. And in cities like Nashville, we have dedicated circuit courts that only do criminal cases, so we just call those criminal courts. So criminal court is the same court, that's the trial court, that's where jury trials happen. So it begins with an arraignment and it ends in a jury trial. The vast majority of cases, like 80 or 90% of cases, don't end in a jury trial, so there's usually some kind of plea agreement or potentially dismissal that happens along the way, but that can be a year to year and a half process before you ever see a trial. Whereas the goal in general sessions, at least prior to the pandemic, the goal in general sessions court would be to either try to resolve that case within a few short months or to have a hearing and have it bound over to the grand jury.